Alright everyone, sorry for the delay, we apologize. Unfortunately, we need to turn that down a little bit. Silver Shady did not show up, so he is being forfeit from the match, and Stu will be taking his place in an exhibition match. This is not an official race, however, it should be a really good one, because these are two of the three players left undefeated in this tournament still. Kanis with 6 wins, I guess now 7 actually, because of the forfeit from Silv. So he went undefeated through brackets, both of these runners. So this should be a very good race. They have a couple very good times. Kanis has a 33.40. Stu has, I believe, like a mid to high 32. Not exactly sure of his time, but it should be a very good run. Race has started on an SRL, so we're going to be under the way shortly. Players just cycling here just to prevent from going back to the beginning main menu. It's an unfortunate feature of the game, but it's fine. And we're off. Alright, Stu started a little bit ahead of Kanis. We'll fix stream delay there in a second. So first of all, we start as Donkey in Donkey Kong Country, obviously, the titular character, but immediately kill him off because he is significantly slower than Diddy. And obviously, as a speedrunner, we want to get through the game as quickly as possible. The first big piece of tech that we use here is extendos. If you roll through an enemy and let go of the roll button as you go through the enemy, you can press the roll button again to refresh your roll. You can also roll over gaps as you see them do at the end of the stage there. And then there's also a neat trick called fanfare skip. If you mash all of the face buttons as quickly as you can, as you exit a stage, you see they do that sort of like dance on the world map after finishing a stage. Ooh, Stu getting very close to some Kremlings there. You will skip the fanfare, it cuts it a little bit shorter. You save, I think, about 2 minutes over the course of the whole run. This is any percent all stages, so anything goes as far as warps. So you see they just went into a bonus there to skip a significant chunk of this stage here, swinging on ropes, trying to cut them as close as you can just to shave off those seconds. Little gap roll over that army there. And you see they cut the fanfare a little short just by mashing buttons to cut Diddy's little dance there. Now into Reptile Rumble. Probably the first really hard stage of the game. There's actually some good platforming here, some good roll tech, and you are introduced to crawl spaces, which have some good tech to them. If you hold the down on the D-pad, and you can jump through the crawl spaces, which is significantly faster than the crawling animation that you get when you normally try to walk through them. Also, if you are jumping through crawl spaces and you press Y, the roll button, you will be zipped to whichever end of the crawl space is closer. So if you are more than halfway through the crawl space and you press Y, you will be zipped out the other end of it at rolling speed. So it's very, very useful in speed runs. Now on to Coral Capers, the first water stage of the game. You don't need to hold Y, you move at the same swim speed no matter what, but you want to pick up On Guard as fast as you can. He is much faster than swimming as the Kongs, and as you can see by his lunging animation, he goes much faster in the horizontal direction as opposed to vertical. You also are, it's not just like a lunge for speed purposes, but it's also an attack because he's a swordfish. So you will dispatch most enemies, however not all of them. Those croctopus that you see right there, you just sort of clip through them instead of killing them, just because the croctopus are basically invulnerable. So rather than you hitting them or them hitting you, you just sort of have a standoff there and clip through. We do that with another type of enemy later, mincers, which we'll see later in the game. So now onto Barrel Cannon Canyon, which is mostly some auto barrels across the top of the stage. One little hard extendo right there in order to get up to the next one, and then they are basically free and clear through the stage. This, however, is not legal for a different category called NMS, No Major Skips, where you get to see a lot more of the game. And now into Naughty's Lair. Really easy boss, as he should be as the first one. You just bonk him on the head. Just like any other regular beaver, but he needs 5 hits instead of just 1. And you actually can't roll into him as you can roll into the other naughties, the smaller ones. So he just jumps a little bit further each time you bop him on the head. You want to hit him on his descent from the apex of his jump. That's when he's first vulnerable. If you jump at him, jump on him while he's still going up, he will bop you back. Nice little extendo there in the beginning of the stage. You can see they crossed a little gap there and then rolled into that bird. You have to hit that extendo in order for the bird to be in the correct position to roll into the bird. If you haven't caught on to the tech yet, the fastest way to get through this game is rolling, and you roll faster when rolling through enemies. It increases your speed up to 4 enemies, which is a 100% increase in your movement speed over just regular rolling. Little warp here in the beginning of the stage to skip most of this minecart auto-scroller. And both of the players did a little barrel skip at the beginning as well, which saves about 1/4 of a second. Now on to Bouncy Bonanza, which is the first real hard stage of the game, which can also be very, very punishing. More crawl spaces, more tire rolls, and a nice trick called B-skip. Right here you see Stu going for it, gets the first half. Second half, easy. That saves 4 seconds, so it's nothing to scoff at. It's just basically a biggest thing there is timing. Also gets Spooky Jump. You could just skip going over on the tires there. Kanis opts not to go for it. Saves less than a second, so it's not really a huge loss, but it is something that will separate really good players from the best players. Not saying that Kanis isn't one of the best players, but it's definitely not a trick that I would go for in a race, because we do not get halfway in that stage and you'll lose about 45 seconds or so if you miss that jump. Now stop and go. These rock crocs, these enemies, you turn them on and off. Well, you turn them off with the barrels there, and as long as you're rolling, they can't hit you. So just like the Croctopus and the Mincers, just sort of like a clip, just go through them, no damage done. Setting up the first major glitch of the game, Super Jump. You see Donkey go off the top of the screen there. That means the Super Jump is charged, and when the players get their Kong back, they can jump up infinitely as long as they hold B and land on an enemy into a Donkey-only warp barrel. Free and clear out of the stage, easy peasy, no problems. Now on to Neki. First bird boss of the game. There are 2 beaver bosses and 2 bird bosses. The 2 bird bosses are the only instance of RNG in the game, whether they spawn in the upper right, the lower left, whatever, is the only RNG that you will see in this entire speedrun. Everything else is predetermined and you can be played the same exact way every time. Doesn't really make a big difference, but lower spawns there are easier to hit, so that's what you want. Doesn't matter right or left though. Just something you have to react to. Another Donkey exclusive warp barrel right here. This one is also on a timer, so rather than switching to Diddy for faster movement speed, we just end up staying Donkey to save on those 2 Kong swaps there, because it does lose about 1.5 seconds to swap your Kongs. Easily through those cannon barrels, very nice. Very punishing if you lose Diddy there, because you do have to spend time getting him back, and playing as Donkey is tough and slow. Treetop Town, there's a warp in the beginning of the stage, not much to talk about, very easy. Another Super Jump stage here, however, I think we might see our first instance of a more difficult trick called a Super Jump Roll. What that is a combination of a Super Jump and a Jump Roll. You see Diddy jump off the top of Stu's screen there. He has a Super Jump charged, and he's going to line up right here. Oh, he did not save it, unfortunately. He's going to go the OG way. Kanis, however, did hit the Super Jump Roll. As you can see, he's going very, very fast across the screen right now. This saves about 16 seconds over doing the stage as a Super Jump. And Stu didn't even get the Super Jump, so he is losing a considerable amount of time right now riding the ropes. I don't know how much you lose, but it is a boatload. Let's go ahead and switch the audio here, now that we have Kanis in front, into Temple Tempest, which is a very tough platforming stage. This is the first stage where the extendos get really meaty. You can skip some rope segments right there. There's one, and then another one coming up right here. Press and hold jump. Nice. Another rope skip. Very well done by Kanis. There's another extendo right here. I don't think he goes for. Most people don't. You can clip through that naughty wheel right there. And then there's one more good extendo, double extendo cone up right here. I think he usually goes for it. Through these guys, bridge that gap over that naughty wheel. Very well done. A couple of hard tire rolls here. Actually, they're not really so hard. It's just kind of a nerves thing, because if you do mess them up, that is a death, and you will lose easily 30 seconds there. But very good execution by Kanis. Very well through the stage. Now on to map warp. It's the only wrong warp that we actually use in this category. However, there are plenty more if you're into that. What you do is you need one sprite on the overworld, and there are corners between a lot of these stages in the World 1 map. Right there is the corner. Yep, okay, second try. Good job, Kanis. When you stop on a corner for one frame, if you press any of the face buttons as if you were to try to enter a stage, you get thrown into some level. The gamer isn't really sure what to do with you, so it ends up throwing you into like 90% of the way through Orangutan Gang if you enter that corner specifically. So we use that to skip most of that stage. Saves about 16 seconds or so, I believe, while we're playing it out. Now on to Clam Chowder, affectionately called by our community. Real name is Clam City. Another stage where you are mostly on guard. Again, just trying to cut those corners as closely as possible and lunge as much as you can. And a lot of up and down in this stage, not as much lunging across the screen until you get to this end section here. Try to stay away from these croctopuses, and then I think... Oh, he goes for Clam Clip. Very nice, and he gets it as well. So that clam there, instead of dispatching it, you actually end up losing your fish if you run into it, which is a little bit of a time loss. Misses that first hit there on the bee, so now his cycles are going to be off. That's unfortunate, but... let's see, that's about at least a minute. Kanis has a very sizable lead, so even with messing up his B cycles here, he really shouldn't have too much to sweat right now over this race with Stu. Either way, it's just for fun, so just putting on a good show here, so nothing really huge at stake other than their manly indignation. I believe Stu goes under the clam. Yep, alternate strat right there, just as fast, pretty much. You lose a little bit of time just to not lunging all the way through and dismounting your fish. Stu getting the quick hit there, though. That is good. A little bit of a time save there over Kanis. And Kanis is actually on a really good run right now. Not gonna lie. Let's see if he goes for... Nice. Joe roll in the snow. Little gap roll right there. It's very, very tough, very, very tight. And jumping out of zero roll. Safe move. Not a bad decision in a race format such as this. Next trick here is called barrel boost. You grab this keg, and when you're on a slope and you jump, it boosts you to really fast speeds. Actually, I believe it's faster than your fastest roll speed through 4 enemies. And you use that to sort of bounce on that first bird. Ooh, that's not good. He can still make this, though. I don't think he's going to make that. Oh, you can still make that as Donkey. I didn't even know. Very... Oh my god, did he know that he could do that? What a man. If he practiced that, that's amazing. Yeah, so, wow. The things that you learn when you're playing as Donkey. Most people do not practice this game as Donkey because 90% of the time, 95% of the time, you do not want to be Donkey in this game. Very unfortunate that he was, but apparently he was ready for it because that was a very clean shot into the bonus there. I was stunned, Ash, you're right. So, Warp Barrel here, it's not actually Donkey exclusive, but it is camouflaged, and the developers intended you to go into it as Donkey because they set it up so that only Donkey could reach it, just because his hitbox extends higher when he jumps than Diddy's does. But you can still get in there with Diddy with an out-of-bounds glitch that we will see Stu do, I'm sure, because he is going in with Diddy in front, and you can see Kanis coming in now to a stage that we like to call Bird, just because it's the usually the first showing of the bird in a speedrun. Yes, nice out of bounds there for Stu. Into the bonus. He might even go for under the B. Let's see. He goes for it! What a madman! Very nice under the B, Stu. Everything's faster when you can master under the B. So now Kanis riding around on his bird. This stage could easily turn things around. You don't get halfway typically in a speed run just because it's out of the way. And if you lose your bird, chances are you're going to die and get thrown into a pit. But also if you don't, you just end up being much, much slower. The bird is very, very fast and lets you clear a lot of these gaps as opposed to having to ride these ropes. So that is a very punishing stage to mess up. But luckily, Kanis did it perfectly, and it looks like Stu is going to be out with no problems. Here, yes, over the bonus barrel, over that Mankey. One more little tight thing right here, and he's good. Now onto Croctopus Chase. It's a little bit over 2 minutes of just swimming with the Kongs. Don't usually see On Guard in a speedrun here just because he's so far out of the way and so close to the end of the stage that it ends up not being worth it to go get him. He is faster than the Kongs, as I mentioned before, but the time that you make up by being on Guard is not equal to the time that it takes you to go get him. So you just end up being the Kongs here for most of this, and it really separates good players from better players in this stage. This stage is very, very easy to lose 5-10 seconds in, based upon how you cut your corners, which you see Kane is doing very, very well right there, and how well you can mash. He bonked a little bit there, not too big of a deal. Your swim speed is refreshed every time you swim up with the B button, and the cap, theoretical cap, would be 30 B presses per second, once every other frame, because this game runs at 60 FPS. However, that's nowhere near viable for humans, so basically just mash as fast as you can to increase your speed. So all of these up channels, Kanis is mashing the B button as much as he can, holding up, and he wants to cut these corners as close as possible while keeping his momentum going around all these turns. And we'll tell basically how well he does, how much time he's losing over quote-unquote optimal by a little audio cue at the end based on what point we are in the song. Listen for the piano keys. Well, he had the first 6 pianos, so it was pretty good, but not quite what we would say optimal. Now onto Torchlight Trouble, the first stage where the developers decided to use the gimmick that the lights are out. Here you get Squawks, which is seen in later iterations of the game as a parrot that you can ride and shoots eggs and whatnot, but here he just holds a little lantern for you. However, he causes a lot of lag, so here most players opt to skip him and just sort of bear with it in the darkness because you can see most of what you're doing. Very, very tight stage, lots of difficult rolls, neat little crawl space there, some back boosts. Very short but very hard stage to play. Kanis now setting up for the second super jump roll of a typical speed run here. And you see he ducked into that corner there that charged the super jump. And he was a little bit late on the press there. I think it was kind of an odd animation. He sort of got bounced off of that army there, but his setup was good. Looked like he was just off on the frame press, and so he's going to have to play this one out. This is a good chance for Stu to actually turn things around completely. Stu won't be able to pass him up, but he will make up a lot of time with this trick if he goes for... Oh, he opts not even to go for it. I wonder if he's just playing it safe because the setup is so expensive, or if he's just sort of cutting his losses and taking the safe way out. But very, very tough, challenging stage, lots of tire rolls, couple cool extendos, and Kanis out of there, no problem. Stu going through the cycle skips right now, very well done. And now Kanis into the second beaver boss. This time, instead of jumping a little bit closer towards you each time, he jumps high up in the air, a increasing number of times based upon the number of times that you bop him on the head. And same idea, you want to hit him as he's coming down from the apex of his jump. Some cool tech you can do. We'll see if Stu goes for it. He does, so you can sit up in the upper left-hand corner there, and then hit the beaver on the first frame that he is vulnerable back down by being already above him. Very nice execution by Stu there. Setting up for another SJR and ODA, and Kanis gets it! The madman! He's on... Oh, man, he is on quite a run right now. He only got the third beaver. Okay. So, he's saving about 26 seconds over playing out this stage right now. We'll see if Stu can follow up. Otherwise, Kanis is creating quite the gap for himself here. Setting up for damageless ODA. We all know this man's intentions. Gets the super jump, so he was late on the frame perfect Y press. I don't want to say like it's not surprising or whatever. It's not a knock against Stu, but that is a very difficult trick to execute. So not surprising in that it's really, really difficult, but Stu is a very skilled player, especially when hitting all those frame perfect tricks. Nice little drum clip right there on Stu's side. Now Kanis into elevator antics. This is another stage that has an increasingly popular super jump roll in it that I'm sure we will see Stu go for. Most players typically do not go for this jump roll. It is very difficult and very punishing, actually, to do incorrectly. If you release B too soon and come down too fast, you actually will end up soft locking because you'll be stuck on top of the level. So now Kanis going through the rest of elevator antics. Took a little bonus there to skip another chunk of time. That is the second and final bonus we'll take to skip portions of the stage. Setting up for elevator skip right here. So you can skip one cycle of an elevator. You see Stu charging the super jump on your right hand side. Kanis getting elevator skip, no problem. Stu a little early on the press. You saw he rolled through that enemy there, as opposed to bouncing off of it. The roll through means that he pressed Y too soon, so he rolled before he would have bounced off of the enemy, so he ended up just rolling through. Fourth and final water stage of the game. Kanis is now in Poison Pond. Here it's a little bit murky and the water's green. We're in this sort of industrial area. That's the theme of the world, so it's supposed to be like a polluted pond. And I guess like the mincers are supposed to be like trash or something rolling around, not really sure. But another on-guard stage, and there's lots of really good clips that you do through these mincers, specifically one right here. One, oh, he doesn't even go for it. All right, well, there's a triple mincer clip there that I'm sure Stu will go for. You clip through 3 mincers and it saves a second or so. And here, you want to have both of your Kongs, ideally, exiting the stage. I guess you can get either one of them back in Minecart Madness either way, but you want to have Donkey out in front here as you go into this minecart. You want to run into it, not roll, not jump. You want to run into it, and then you take damage on this bird, and now he has this glitch state that we like to call rolling through air. And what is happening is the game thinks he's simultaneously on land and in the air at the same time, so he can jump and roll continuously throughout this stage. There is... oh, he gets the 2. Very nice. Another jump roll in this stage that I don't know if he was just early on or he decided not to go for, but if you are late on this jump roll, it will actually... you'll bounce off the enemy, and it will get you out of this perpetual jump roll state. Perpetual rolling through air state, I should say. So you do lose, I don't know what it is, 15, 20 seconds if you're late on the jump roll there, and you save about 6 over rolling through air normally. Stu will probably set up for it and go for it, I'm sure. And a little early, and a little early on that one as well. Better to be earlier than late there, for sure. Didn't want to go back and go for it again. You can do, I think, 2 or 3 attempts before you end up losing time on it. Couple of good tire rolls at the end of this stage to look out for, but for the most part you're just riding a minecart. Not too exciting. A little bit interesting movement there on Stu's side to avoid that bird. I think he's maybe having a little bit of nerves right now, because that's not normal for most players. Kanis now in Blackout Basement, which is the second stage where the gimmick is that the lights are out. They flicker on and off every 62 frames, and the foreground, the background, enemies, and all these platforms and stuff will disappear, but however, you can still see bananas, DK barrels, and the midway barrel. Bananas are visible, but bananable bunches are not visible for whatever reason. But most of the time, you're just using those bananas and the half of the stage that you do get to see when the lights are on as your visual cues. Lots of muscle memory, very difficult stage, but very well executed by Kanis. Stu about to do the same. Kanis now into Dum Drum, or as we affectionately call him now, Cylinder. Lots of fun names have been invented in this game, especially in recent times in our late night races that we like to call D-Gen. So the boss just basically spits out these enemies at you in a set pattern, 2 at a time. Dispatch them as quickly as possible to initiate the next cycle of enemies, and he stomps on the ground an increasing number of times each time you dispatch the enemies. You want to use Donkey for the 4th and 5th cycle just because he can dispatch the enemies more quickly. The clumps being that Donkey can jump on them, Diddy will however get bounced off and needs to roll through them. And then the armies, Donkey can bounce on them 1 time to dispatch them, as opposed to Diddy being sort of knocked back, knocking the armies out of their roll, and then having to hit them again in order to get rid of them. All these names are just Joe and I know it. No, he comes up with some of them. He did not come up with cream cheese, though, which is exactly what Kanis is about to go for. Now on to Tanked Up Trouble. There are 2 frame-perfect opportunities. I guess 3, but only 2 of them save time. The first one being cream cheese, or creme tut, set up off of a Kremling, hence the name, and the second one being bird tut, set up off of a vulture, a bird. So the first one saves about 55 seconds. It is very difficult. Both of these frame perfect, both of these 1/60th of a second. Oh, okay, he was a little bit late there, that's fine. 1/60th of a second to press the Y button as you land on an enemy. Now he's setting up for bird. Also a little bit late, as you saw that he bounced off of the enemy there. So that means that he did not press Y in time. Kanis is going to have to sit through this large auto-scroller now. Didn't even go for consolation prize. Shame. Stu has a chance here to turn things around. If he hits either of these frame-perfect tricks, he will actually be ahead, I believe, according to exit times out of Dum Drum. By the way, Kanis was sub 25 out of Dum Drum, which is a very good time. Stu setting up for Creme Tut now. Also late. That's okay. He has 1 more chance. And he hits Bird Tut. Okay, so that's 42-second time save for him right here. So when you're in this jump roll state, this is the thing that I've been talking about, mixing up with super jumps to make your super jump rolls and whatnot. When you're in this state, you are invulnerable to most enemies except for bees and mincers, and you will sort of fly across the stage as, like we say, a peanut in space is what we like to call them. But you will lose subpixels every frame, so you need to wiggle back and forth like you saw by those naughties in order to drop enough distance to go beneath those bees at the end of the stage. Very well done by Stu. And he is all but caught up now, so that was huge for him. He does have 2 less frames than Kanis, so makes sense now that they are just about on par. Now we are on to Manic Mincers, which is the first and only appearance in the All Stages speedrun of everyone's favorite childhood animal buddy, Rambi the Rhinoceros. He's a little bit faster than the Kongs in most instances, but the most important thing that we use him for is the Yoshi treatment. Coming up here in a second, you get to skip a platform cycle, sorry. Right there, make it to the next one, easy peasy. And bye-bye Rambi. Now, they are, let's see, about 4 seconds apart. So this is a very, very tight race. They are necky and necky, I'd say. Next super jump roll here, Misty Mines. This one saves about 24, 26, 22. Depends on how you play the stage. Kanis late on the frame press. Stu early on the frame press. So they're going to get to play out this very good platforming stage for you guys. Some tricky rolls. Nice little extendo that most people don't go for. But the stage is really just a bunch of timing your jumps to make sure that you don't land on these snakes and jump under them as they get shot out of these dumb drums at you. Not really a whole lot of like interesting tech in terms of like tire rolls and whatnot, but is very satisfying to play out, in my opinion. Rolling and bouncing on enemies, it just feels really natural. Nice little back boost coming up in a second here. That's about the most exciting thing. Back boost right there on Kanis' side. I guess he didn't hit it, no big deal. And Stu going for that jump and gets the extendo. So through a little bit of difference in play style, Stu has now passed him in Misty Mines alone. Going into Loopy Lights, there is an SJR here, but I don't expect either of these players to go for it. It saves 3 seconds, and again, it's a frame perfect trick. Really, really not worth it in the majority of settings. Pretty much the only people that will go for it are the world record attempts in any percent, which is just over 8 minutes long. So anytime you can save is extremely, extremely valuable, even if it's so much as like fractions of a second. So 3 seconds there for this jump roll is huge. The gimmick here, obviously, being that the lights are out, but you can still see most of the stage as it is anyway. Some good tire rolls through the B section here now. Also, probably a personal favorite of mine. This stage is just lots of really satisfying movement. Now on to Platform Perils here, where this game can be won or lost based upon who hits the frame here and who doesn't. There is one more frame perfect trick. There's a jump roll here, and it saves a variable amount of time, also based upon how well you play the stage, how tightly you play it, what you go for. Stu setting up for it here. And he's hit it, so he pretty much has this... Oh, Kanis hits it as well! But I believe Stu has this race all but tied up. Unfortunately, Kanis lost a little bit on his movement through a couple of stages, and also, unfortunately, didn't hit Tanked Up Trouble, either of those frames, which are the most valuable frames in the game. So ultimately, that combination of things leads him to a little bit of an upsetting loss here. Of course, the race isn't over yet, but it is pretty much done. They're gonna end within 5 seconds of each other, but the rest of the run is pretty much all scripted. Again, a little bit of RNG here, whether or not the bird appears on the top or the bottom, but it's very, very minimal. You want the bird to appear on the bottom just because it's a little bit easier to hit him there, a little bit easier to get optimal hits. Stu going for the donkey route. Donkey has a little bit of a faster fanfare than Diddy, so you actually exit the stage more quickly, and a lot of players find it easier to get more optimal hits on the final boss here, K. Rool. Stu also showing off some slap slides. Very nice. So K. Rool will throw his crown at you, and then he'll run back and forth and drop cannonballs on you and jump at you, do various things. The really only optimization here is hitting him as close as you can to him releasing his crown. If you are, within the first few frames of him throwing his crown at you, you actually do not see it. You don't see him throw it in front of him, so we like to call this frameless hits. See on Stu's screen right there, you barely even see the crown at all. So, unfortunately, he doesn't get to do the cool tech as Donkey, which is standing in between the cannonball drops. Kanis also opting not to go for it. I'm not sure if he's just not comfortable with it or doesn't know where the pixels are, but Diddy is actually, his hitbox is actually small enough that he can stand on certain pixels as the cannonballs drop, and he will not be harmed by them. Donkey's a big boy though, so you have to actually move out of the way for the cannonballs. It's a good opportunity to get into those slap slides though, which are a frame perfect trick. So normally Donkey has this attack where you hold down, press Y, and he'll slap the ground. You can break open patches in the ground, you can hurt enemies with it. But if you press down and Y and then also a direction, right or left, at the same time, Donkey will do his slap attack, but also move to the side, whichever direction you press. And also jumping and landing, I guess, turns that into more of a 2-frame trick rather than 1. But either way, still cool. Just a little bit of swag, not really useful anywhere. These players, very, very close. Oh, wow, this is good. This is good. A little bit of spoilers in the SRC channel, but looks like these players are going to be just about necky and necky on this finish here. No surprise. I don't know if something to do with their timers here. I think Stu just waited to type out .done. He might have thought he was further ahead than he was. But both players finishing with SRL race times. Oh, I'm sorry, I read it wrong. They were 5 seconds apart. Stu with 34:13 SRL race time, and Kanis with a 34:19. Both players, very, very good times. Stu's timer actually 34:13. He is tied for world record. Obviously, good stuff. What's up, Stu?
Yo, hello and welcome.
Hello and welcome. A little bit of a bummer there about Forest Frenzy, but other than that, that was quite a run you were on, my good sir.
Yeah, so it actually started. So the things I could think about was I got distracted in the second level and rolled too early, so I lost 2 seconds there. Then everything was pretty clean until Forest Frenzy, and that was shenanigans. But I've been having issues with that.
You had a little weird double back there in 1-2 Ropey Rampage. But
yeah, it was just
shook it off, no problem, and then you went about your business, and it was very close for most of it. Kanis actually hit the Forest Frenzy SGR, so he ran away with that.
Oh, really?
He sure did.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. Nice.
Yeah, it
Very
was
nice.
It was
I was way
stuff.
behind then. Holy cow.
Yeah, and then went for RBR SJR. Unfortunately, something weird happened there. It looked like you hit it, and then like you got bumped off of the second Naughty or something, the second Army or something. Kanis, what went on there? Kanis?
Wait, what?
In RBR, it looked like you maybe hit the frame there, but like got bumped off of the second Army instead of rolling through him.
Yeah, I don't understand that trick yet, but I definitely think I hit the frame and blew it somehow.
Yeah, I think you hit it, but he ended up getting super jump because I think the game thought you like bounced off of the second one there. Either way, very, very good execution on the majority of the stages by both of you. Obviously, low 34s are very, very good times. What else happened? Kanis hit ODA.
Wow, Forest and ODA, same run.
Yeah,
thing. That is a real run right there.
Oh yeah,
dude.
It was good.
And I was definitely on PB pace going into World 6, but I missed Tut, and you got that, and that like made all the difference.
Yeah, he was, I believe, 4 seconds. There was 4 second difference between you guys in Mincers going to the end of Mincers. So Tut really did wonders for you, Stu.
I give all the credit to Under the B. Hello, that's the only reason I won that race.
I mentioned it. Oh, okay. Speaking of crazy things, so Kanis in Snow Barrel Blast, have you like practiced playing that with Donkey? Did you know what you were doing?
No, dude.
Wait, why were you Donkey in Snow Barrel?
What? I got hit, dude.
Yeah, he took damage, so he didn't get to go for the extendo through the 3 birds.
Yeah, I was trying to set it up, and I went too far right.
Yeah. So then the next section where you roll off the ledge as Diddy into the bird and then jump into that auto barrel, he goes into the first auto barrel, shoots up right, and lands directly into the auto barrel.
Dude, it was Kobe moment.
That was bonkers.
I definitely had to do that.
I was flabbergasted. I had no idea. It was amazing.
That's the easiest way, but you do actually kind of have to wiggle, like hold left and then right real quick as you go around the one.
Oh, gotcha. See, I had no idea you could do that. Can you not? I think you can make it if you just roll through the bird with Donkey, though, right?
You can at the very, very end, right? The final auto barrel.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah, you can definitely roll through. You can do the exact same starting roll position as Diddy and do the exact same thing, except that I don't think you can get instant barrel. I think you have to jump earlier just to, coast into the barrel essentially. Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay, well, that was something. You
What
guys
really
both
tripped
had
me out is I
great-
heard a DK barrel once I was solo donkey.
Oh
in
yeah.
Snow barrel about where there's like a rhino token.
Mhm.
And I heard the barrel, but like I don't know where it is.
I think there's an invisible barrel like left of the bees.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh man, if I had known
not-
that, I would have won the race.
It's true actually, because you had solo donkey for all the end of Snow Barrel, all of Slipslide, and then into the beginning of
Yikes!
into the beginning of Ice Age.
It
So
was fun because like I remember people were saying earlier on that somebody was going to do donkey only in this race.
I mean, if that
Yeah.
was gonna happen, I would have thought it would have been. Nah, I can't say it would have been Joe. Joe's done other memes. I guess he would have done that.
And
But,
Mildium famously used the donkey only ROM hack in his tournament race last time we did all stages.
Oh, nice.
That was a great,
Mildium.
race. His versus me as
Oh.
well. I didn't
Good
know
for you,
this,
Mil.
and I start racing the guy, and I'm watching the stream, and he's just donkey going through it all. I'm like, what?
I didn't even know that. Man, how did I miss out on
Well,
that? I
there's
had no
some
idea.
tournament lore.
Wow.
Well,
I was even in the last
Stu,
tournament. I didn't even-
if you weren't watching that, you should definitely go watch it because that was very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
also-
World 6, dude.
I was also out of the country for a week during the tournament, so that's probably when it happened. But either way, very, very exciting race. Very, very good race. Stu, you actually made up the entire time difference coming out of Minster's and then ended Misty ahead of Kanis. I'm not sure all of the different strats that you guys went for, but you made up over 4 seconds throughout the course of that stage. But you also did you were early on the frame, so you rolled through instead of getting the super jump over. So that's probably a little bit of a time save, but I'm sure there were other.
I made sure not to go for DK barrel as well.
Oh, I got that. Yeah.
Oh
I went
yeah, yeah.
for
Okay,
no
so you
DK
lose
barrel.
time just from lag frame.
And I went for at the very end. I went for the jump over the can straight to the
You did.
ledge.
You did. I saw that,
Like-
and you got the extendo as well through the 3 snakes.
Dude.
So
What was
yeah, I
it?
do. Yeah, I always wiggle back to make sure I get that third one. So I go for quite a bit in that level. Shout outs to Otto actually. He taught me a lot of the things I do in Misty during last AGDQ. So I think he really helped me improve my stage there. But it's still if you don't get the frame.
Well,
Shout outs to Otto. Yeah,
the thing is,
that is
though,
another very, very valuable frame. That would have easily turned the tides in either direction.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Or
the way this race went, though, is that at Misty and Perils both, it was like, all right, who gets the frame in these? Like that
Yeah.
whole match. And
Yeah.
that's what was really intense about the match for me because I knew this was going on.
Oh, yeah,
like,
'cause you were
both
watching, weren't you?
Misty, and I was like, yes. And then I got Perils before I saw the restream because like there's a minute delay. So I got Perils. I'm like, well, if Stu gets Perils, then he wins. If he doesn't get Perils, then I lose.
Oh dang.
It actually came down to that.
Oof.
Yeah, it actually came down to all the most minute things you could with everything here mattered. It was all down to whatever, like 5 seconds. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
dude, like if you got hit on K roll, that might have like changed it.
Yeah.
that could have been it. Yeah, and I mean,
But
like,
I did
even
get-
like the Neki spawns and like doing the Neki 2 tech, like the nut skips, like that could have made a difference. Honestly, I didn't pay attention to like who got what, but if someone got all lows versus someone else
I-
getting all highs, that could have easily
I had
shifted
all
things.
highs except for the final one, which was low,
Oh,
which then I deboosted off of.
Oh, you
to
did?
get
Okay.
Donkey route at the
Yeah,
end.
I
I
don't
did
know
notice
how
you
to
took
fight
donkey
that
routes. So there
guy.
was a little bit of time save there. Either way, very, very nice race.
GG,
Great
man.
game. Yeah, great game, Canis. Thanks,
Yeah.
Lumo, for the commentary and for Speed Game and everyone else involved in putting this together and allowing us to even have this exhibition match. That was a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Absolutely.
fun on
I think
fun
we
show.
are pretty much at the end of our time slot, though. So,
Yep.
adios from all of us.
See you in brackets.
Thanks, everyone.
dude.
Thanks for letting me commentate. Thanks for the wonderful race. Thank you, Twitch chat, for being wonderful. And rolling out.
Peace.